I loved you in this.
Thanks a lot.
There's a real interesting sense of control here.
Yeah.
I like that. Was that always in the character?
Yeah, I didn't know exactly how to play it, so I watched like magicians, and they all have one thing in common, which is like they're in control to such a great extent that they're like 10 steps ahead of anybody else in the room. And you know, first I looked at like David Blaine because my character's a street magician. I looked at David Copperfield, who's more of a showy magician. I kind of tried to like meld the two, but both of them have something in common, which is just this feeling of confidence. Even though David Blaine seems to project like a very cavalier attitude, and David Copperfield seems to present like an overly confident air, like this kind of, you know, almost old school showman. They're both like really in control.
Was it ever an interest before, or did it do you kind of go into these roles and kind of adapt these things when you take it on?
Yeah, I was never really interested in magic personally, but what I always was interested in is performing. So I liked the kind of performance aspect of the character. He's like a very confident showman. He like loves being on stage, and I wanted to do that because I do theater, but I don't feel like the same sense of like confidence, and this character has that, so it was kind of like a way to live out the fantasy of feeling great about being on stage.
I like the fact that you had that confidence, because it also showed this vulnerability in this character, which is kind of hidden, especially with you dealing with the other members. What was that kind of adjusting to that and finding that, I mean, you're working with Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman, and there's some really great stuff here.
Yeah.
What was it like kind of dipping into that world?
You know, it's a weird job to be able to like work at a young age with people who are older and better and more experienced, you know, but because of the nature of the job, you end up acting in scenes alongside people like that. So, you know, it's a lot of fun, and, you know, more importantly, it's like makes you better because you see how like other people are taking it seriously and other people are working and how other people prepare. And it just makes you better just by the process of like interacting.
Well, you were taking on making some of the smartest decisions lately. I mean, with Social Network, working with these directors, what do you look for? What is it that you say, yes, this is what I need to do at this time?
I like to do like different things that, like I just finished a play in New York, and, you know, before that did a movie. So I like to do kind of all these kind of, you know, various projects because it keeps it fresh for me, you know, and I just want to play parts that I feel like I can bring something of myself to, or like that it can do something for me. So like when I was doing this movie, it allowed me to be very confident on stage, and this was like helpful in my life, and because it's helpful in my life, it makes it more interesting to film, and then it makes the character more interesting because I'm enjoying doing it. So like if you can kind of find something interesting about it that can parallel with your life, that's like a great opportunity, and it'll only make the character more interesting.
Okay, I gotta say, man, you know I'm a fan. We've talked before. I love this role. I love this role.
Oh, cool.
Do you believe in this stuff? I mean, did you connect in any way to this guy and what he does?
I mean, I did connect to the whole concept of mentalism and you know, the aspect of hypnosis, for example.
Yeah.
I was really fascinated by all that. And while we were shooting it, I was just trying stuff all the time. Not necessarily succeeding much, but I was just constantly trying. I think it's a really amazing thing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing profession. And mentalism, you know, you see magicians a lot, but it's rare that here's a mentalist showing at the local whatever, you know. So it's not a thing I'd run into that much.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I like the fact that there's this kind of camaraderie here, and it seems like you're doing a lot of ensemble work lately. Is that something you were just choosing to do, or is that connecting with you in that?
No, I mean, I just kind of look at things individually as they come through, and oh, this is a cool script. That's a good director. Oh, those are good actors. You know, I just try to sum it all up if it's going to be. I mean, I don't want to do any shitty movies anymore. I've done them, and I don't want to do any more of those. So, you know, if I see something come along that's so unique like this with a story that's never been told, I've never seen that story, you know.
Yeah.
I'm interested. With those actors?
Well, because there's a heist movie, but then there's a magic movie, and generally magic movies aren't that good.
Well, I think it's because the magic, you know, people know, well, that you did that magic trick from effects, you did this, that, you know, the audiences are so savvy. Very hard to do magic. But this is cool because there's magic done, and then there's, you know, Morgan Freeman playing a debunker of magic who shows you how the trick happened, how the whole thing came off. And I think it's good to do that for the audience, you know, because it really makes them a part of this, you know, of what's happening, of these events.
There's a great line in the film, and it's not spoken by you, but I'm curious to see your thoughts. You know, Mark Ruffalo is talking about how he just doesn't believe in magic, but his partner Melanie is saying, yeah, it's important to believe in that. Do you think it's important for us to believe in magic in this day and age?
I mean, I believe in magic, but I believe it's an illusion. So in the sense of, yeah, but I still think it's something that's great to believe in, because even if you know it's an illusion, it doesn't change the fact that it's extraordinary, you know, sometimes, depending on the magician.
I think there's all sorts of magic, too. I mean, whether you believe in that, like sleight of hand, or something bigger, or something maybe more spiritual, or whatever, it's all part of magic, right?
Yeah. I mean, you know, you can, like, that's what's cool also, you know, you have one character who's an escape artist, one who's great at sleight of hand, one who can pull off these tricks that you can't even understand how it's possible, kind of on a bigger scale. Yeah. And then my character, a mentalist, and we all kind of come together to, you know, make this stuff happen.
Well, we're sitting here having this great conversation, and this is such a pleasure meeting you finally,
Oh, thank
Morgan.
you, James. Thank you.
I've got to ask, and I think a lot of fans of movies, period, are going to see you, and they're going to see Michael Caine and just be in awe of your work in this film.
Well, hey, that's all right with me.
What was it like kind of taking on the script and working with him with these two specific characters?
It was great fun. Anytime any actor, I think, gets a shot at working with someone of the caliber of Michael Caine, you're kind of in, what's the term I want to use? It's like the catbird seat type of thing. Mm-hmm. This is where you belong. This is it. This is heaven. This guy is so adept, so good at what he does. If you can be there with him and not show how awestruck you are, you're doing well.
Now, I find that hard to believe because I would put you in that same caliber.
Well, see, that's good. That's very excellent. But
Well,
I don't put myself in that same caliber. I mean, I think I'm very capable of acting with an actor of very high caliber whom I really admire, but still, I'm starstruck.
Wow. That's kind of cool, actually. Now, I've got to say, as a fan of, you know, I kind of grew up with David Copperfield or that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Were you ever into magic, or were you ever familiar with that world?
I was never into magic. I just remember one time when I was in grade school or maybe high school, junior high school, a magician came to our school. You know, he was sort of a hack. At the time, I had this sort of rep as the person to go on stage. And so when he called for a volunteer, all the kids shoved me up on stage. So I saw all the things that he was doing up close, you know. So it's like, okay.
So you were completely unimpressed.
Yeah, very.
Well, it's a difficult thing to show magic on film, but this film is able to do that in a satisfying and a realistic way.
Well, especially today. I mean, with the technology that we have working for us today, it's just really outstanding.
Yeah. It almost seems like audiences today kind of go into a movie and go, yeah, okay, what next?
Yeah, well, yeah, but I think it's with a little more wide-eyed, you know. I was wide-eyed in this movie. It's like, wow, how'd they do that?
In the script originally, I think it was more that they kept the magic a little bit more things that they could do. They added a little bit more later. But did you find yourself kind of believing magic a little bit more?
Well, I still, I mean, I see magicians now, up close and personal, can do things that you don't see them do.
Yeah.
if you're looking right at a magician and he pulls something off, but just before your very eyes, that's magic. To me, that's what magic is. So how did you do that is never going to be answered.
Do you feel that as an actor, you kind of need to portray that magic, and you need to bring that to whatever role it is, whether it's Seven or something like this?
The prayer of all actors is that you can perform that magic, that you can convince the audience with what you're doing, that what you're doing is true to life, is honest, is real.
I think there's a real honest moment here, and I think I can't say too much about it, but at the end, and working with Mark Ruffalo, did you find a nice connection with him? I love the
heavens,
work.
yes! I've been a fan of his, and I'm a movie fan. Actors just turn me on, and I've been trying to get into a movie with Mark for a lot of years. I've asked for him in certain parts, and he was unavailable. But yeah, he's awesome.
Well, so are you, man. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, thank you, James. Thank you so much.
Cheers, man. I'm glad you liked the haircut.
I like the haircut. Let it grow. Let it go down the back. That's gonna be it.
Okay, first of all, I'm watching the first 4 minutes, and you're dealing with piranhas. That's the coolest thing ever. What was that? Was that the script? You're like, okay, I'm going to dive in with piranhas.
That was not in the script. Actually, that was a rewrite, I think, by Boaz. He decided that we wanted some backstory. Originally, you just met the 4 horsemen, and they were in the middle of this heist, and we didn't know, where it was leading to. And then in the rewrite, you saw a little bit about our magic, that Woody Harrelson is a mentalist, and Dave and Jesse do the sleight of hand, and I'm an escapologist. And I think that was such a great rewrite, to see her in the tank submerged, and to have that stunt be, it's just it's a nice bit of a physical, magic trick it's illusion. It's a great illusion.
I love the energy there too, because it kind of says everything about your character right there.
Oh yeah, thank you. She needed to have that energy, because you're running on adrenaline when you're doing a trick like that, and you're going against a clock, and you really are putting your life in your hands, because even the most experienced magician, things can go wrong, and do go wrong for magicians a lot.
As an actress, you always take on roles, and you kind of take a little bit in. Have you taken on this magic?
I have. I definitely can do a few little magic tricks now from the movie, but nothing is as impressive as the dexterity of Dave Franco, who can throw a card and chop a banana in half.
He can really do that?
Who needs a knife when you have Dave Franco and a deck of cards?
Oh.
I need a fruit salad. I need Dave Franco and some cards.
Oh my gosh. Now, I was reading in the press notes, which is sometimes unreliable.
Yeah.
You're talking about Katharine Hepburn.
Yes. I just meant in the sense that she has this witty repartee with Woody Harrelson's character and Jesse and Dave's characters. I don't think there are any other similarities between my character Henley and Katharine Hepburn.
Well, I think the beauty of this kind of role, and it hits on that there, is that she does kind of have to prove herself with these guys. And
yes.
It does become an issue, and it is addressed in the film. Was that kind of fun jumping into?
Yeah, what I love about it as a woman is that she is using her feminine traits rather than turning into a man in order to fit in with men, which women often do. And, she's not, adopting any male traits. Like, she's staying very much in tune with her feminine energy and still having the same success.
Yeah, and I love the connection you guys had, all of you together.
Thank you.
What was it like working with all these guys? Michael
Amazing.
K.
They're
Oh
all
my
nominated
goodness.
for Oscars, and I just have my SAG card. So I felt very lucky to be in this, very phenomenal, talented, bunch of veteran actors, really. And, I'd just seen Melanie Laurent in The Beginners and loved her in it. And I just think everybody in this movie is just, I'm a fan of. So for us all to be together, it's just a perfect ensemble for me,
Well, you should have won an award for Hot Rod, because I think you're awesome in that movie.
Oh, thank you.
I like that movie.
You're the only one that's ever said that.
I loved seeing you in this, man.
Yeah.
You were kind of awesome in
Nice,
this. And I
nice.
like the fact that you kind of jumped in with these guys.
Sure.
And What was that like? Because I know you're kind of coming up there, but you're all everywhere right now, and working with this talented cast, man.
It's incredible. You know, to be mentioned in the same sentence as these people, like Morgan Freeman or Michael Caine, it's unbelievable. And to like to be on the poster, it's like I didn't expect that. I'm sure my reps did because I'm sure that was part of the contract. But like to see it, it's like it's unbelievable. And I don't know, what was really cool just being around these people who have been in the business for so long is that they're still, you know, they still doubt themselves in like a really endearing way where they want to be the best they can be still, and they don't just like come in and pretend like they know what they're doing. It's like they still try really hard. It's really inspiring.
Do you feel that you kind of fit that almost a square peg in a round hole, especially in that you do in this character, you did in I think to a certain extent 21 Jump Street.
What are you saying exactly? Like,
you're kind of like this, you don't really fit with these guys, but then you kind of are thrust in, at least in this film.
Sure. You're saying the character.
Yeah, the
or
character.
Me.
No, you
Little
fit
bit of both.
everywhere. You
Little bit
fit
of both.
everywhere.
No, the character, yeah, it's true. He starts off, you know, as the street kid who doesn't have a lot going for him.
Yeah.
And he falls in with these magicians who he's looked up to, and they have no idea who he is. Just like in real life, I looked up to these actors, no idea who I was. And like he's trying to, you know, gain their respect and like become an equal, and he ends up, you know, being part of the most life-threatening stunt in the movie, and he kind of like, you know, finds, or at least proves himself to the rest of the group.
And apparently you can do magic. I keep
A
hearing
little
that
bit.
you can cut a fruit.
Yeah. I got good at throwing cards.
Where did you figure this out?
It was one of those things, like, I think that's like the first like big step after you learn the basics of throwing cards. It's like, all right, I'm gonna give you this very soft fruit, and it's gonna look cool if you slice it in half. It's really not that impressive, but go for it. But I got weirdly good at throwing cards. Yeah.
How old did you learn this?
A week before filming.
Okay, so,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
kind of jumped into learning all this stuff.
Exactly.
Did you ever believe in magic before?
I mean, I was like halfway intrigued, sort of. But then when the movie came about, like I love the opportunity to really be a nerd and like just dive into that world and practice as much as I can. You know, that's part of my job, and that's cool. Where part of your job is to try to cut a banana in half with a card. You know.
I love the roles you choose.
Oh, thanks.
I like this role because he's very layered. There's a lot going on with him. What was it about this kind of world that you wanted to delve into, the whole magic issue?
Well, I just liked that there was a heist movie that was couched in this. I thought it was really high concept, and I thought that was interesting. Also, I just liked that I got to do all of the car chases and the fighting and the all that stuff that I've never really done in a movie, and do it in a way that wasn't super macho, but kind of had a tongue-in-cheek quality to it, and a character that's salty and world-weary and funny, and also a little bit of a clown from time to time, and then have it be this much bigger, more complex character by the end of it.
Were you always a magic guy, or did that?
I was into it as a kid, but I if I went to Vegas, I wouldn't feel that I had to go catch a magic show necessarily.
Yeah, you're not like lighting up for David Blaine.
No. And I like David Blaine, and I watch those street magicians on YouTube sometimes, and I'm really impressed by them. But it isn't something that I gotta see that or check that out.
Well, do you feel like this kind of world? I mean, it's difficult to transition and do a magic show on film, but they were able to do it with a little humanity.
Yes.
Was that kind of the draw? One of the things that fascinated with you?
Yeah, I didn't know how it was gonna come off, and but because of these actors and how winning they are and personable and good, it really plays really well. And you feel those are real people, and I just think that that part of the movie is so interesting and compelling, and done incredibly well with the camera work and the choreography of those shows.
Is it difficult to kind of? I mean, I know you're obviously used to stunt work a little bit lately, especially.
Yeah.
But is it difficult to kind of find yourself as a guy who really did the actor thing?
Yeah.
Is it difficult to find yourself in that?
No, it's just another version of it, you know, and I've always like just tried to push out my boundaries and the boundaries people put on me, and I just never had gotten to do that yet.
Nice.
And so I was like, oh, I want to try that now, and then I'll go to do this, and I just keep wanting to make it different and interesting and challenging for myself. He's a mind reader. He got a lot from that one little. I didn't. You know.
Are you a real mentalist now?
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
It's amazing.
Do you want me to do
Did you?
something
The
for you?
woman that was just in here, we literally guessed her boyfriend's name.
Really?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. But do you want me to tell you what you're thinking right now?
Yes.
I
You're
got
thinking
it.
there's no way that I'm gonna know.
I
what
was just
you're
gonna
thinking.
say that.
Is that
You're
right?
thinking
Something
there's
similar.
no freaking way that
Yeah.
you're gonna
Right?
figure out
Okay,
what I'm
I
saying.
didn't say word perfect.
It was also, I can't believe I'm just like having this stare down with Woody Harrelson right now.
That was the second thing I thought of. That was the peripheral.
I should have jumped in on it.
Here's a question for you guys, both of you. Who would make the best magician of your crew as a real life profession?
I'm thinking maybe Dave
Franco.
Dave Franco.
Franco's.
That's what Lizzy said too.
He's a
Yeah,
he's a born card
And all the
manipulator.
stuff he can do now
He
with
can
just
do all of it.
manipulating cards.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It's always a tough one, but when you guys were making the first one, did you expect that you'd come back for a sequel?
No.
No. No. I think we were all really pleasantly
In
surprised.
fact, I thought, you remember when it came out, it was in a real tough time. and I
Yeah,
thought,
it
oh,
had
this
really
movie's
big
just gonna crash
competition,
and burn.
and it just
kept
kept
going.
floating up and up,
And,
and here we are.
and thank God.
But
because
yeah, by
we
the
get to do another one. What a great
the
experience.
film gods, and hopefully we'll get to do another one.
Yeah.
Why not, right?
We got to keep praying to the film gods.
Right.
I never even knew the word film gods.
There's
till
two
you
of them.
mentioned
Three actually, but one's a lesser
that.
god.
Brian Lord and,
No, I was thinking Mo, Larry, and Curly.
oh,
They're great.
Yeah,
I pray to them every night.
They're amazing.
If there is a third one, what's the next? I mean, where could you guys bring it that you haven't brought it to yet?
well, I think then he would become the fifth horseman. So we'd have five of us on stage together.
But
Yeah.
you're part of the crew in this one.
I think but I'm still kind of
Overseer.
I
not
am.
off
I'm
to the
still
side, you're
playing.
overseer.
I am.
You're the
I'm still in the
puppeteer.
game. I'm still in the
Yeah,
game.
you're in the game.
Is that like it on set too, because you were now joining the crew?
I think so. Yeah. Don't- Did you?
I didn't understand the question.
And sleep. Okay.
What? No, you could
I was
never
just-
hypnotize me. Never.
So Lizzy, your character is just so super enthused to be joining the Horsemen in this film. Was that sort of a reflection of what you were going through on set, joining this cool team?
It was more acting. I was like probably lukewarm about the whole thing, but then, you know, I had to act like I was very enthused. So I'm really happy to hear that you bought that.
I did. I was totally buying it. And you looked enthused to have her.
You know what? Best acting I've ever done.
You guys were killing it.
No, honestly, we were all very excited to have Lizzy join the group. She brings her own energy, she brings her own sense of humor, and I think the second one's funnier than the first even. And the first one has good comedy laid in throughout, but the second one is funnier, and I give Lizzy a lot of credit.
Who's the second funniest person on set?
I'm the first, second, and third funniest
Wow.
person on
Yeah.
set. And then after is probably
Jesse.
Jay Chow.
Or Jay Chow?
Oh, Jay Chow. Cool.
Jay Chow probably is very funny, but there was a bit of a language barrier.
Dave, are you at the point where you were able to teach Lizzy some tricks, or even maybe some of the card flipping stuff?
Not really.
You taught me.
Did I?
I mean, you just sort of did again.
Oh.
Don't sell yourself short.
Okay, thank you.
Nobody throws cards better than you.
Oh, stop it.
You have been working on it for 4 years. So
It's about time.
So, I guess I did teach Lizzy basically everything she knows.
yeah.
Cool.
And about more than just magic. About life generally.
Life lessons.
Yeah.
What was the coolest trick that you learned, and how much of what we're seeing in the film is real as opposed to CG?
A lot of it is real, the vast majority. And then there's stuff like, there's this bit in the trailer where Jesse Eisenberg stops the rain and makes it. That's a real trick that people can do.
Right. It's obviously playing with your perception, but I think people see that in the trailer and they're like, oh, you know, silly, crazy magic that you could never do. But every trick that's in the movie is actually based on tricks that real magicians can pull off, and we wanted to keep things grounded in that sense.
Yeah. So he's saying, do try this at home.
Do try that
Sure.
with your own rain machine and everything.
Yeah, your own airplane. And
Yeah, if you have one.
yeah, if you have one, just give it a try.
But now, so are you able to pull out some tricks if need be?
Yeah, I can pull out a few tricks. I've got a few tricks up my sleeve, as we say in the business.
Interesting.
Yeah, I have a few things, but the problem is when I try to show them to my friends, they don't buy that I can actually do them, and so they just like roll their eyes and dismiss it.
Because you're an actress and they think you're just acting.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you did a magic movie, and I think you can do magic, you know?
It's a good impersonation of them, I'm sure.
Yeah, they all have speech.
The amalgamation of all your friends.
They all sound exactly like them.
Yeah, I hate them.
Dave, who do you think would be the best magician of the cast?
Good question.
Maybe Jesse. I feel like Jesse's got like the
hours
the
spent alone in
diligence,
his
the
bedroom.
diligence to like actually take the time to get really good, and then he's just like he's an interesting onstage performer.
I agree with that, but I would argue that I think you would actually be really the best at it
That's very sweet of you.
because you worked really hard.
It's true. It's true.
Any peas cards?
And he urinates playing cards.
You'd have to have seen before what happened. He actually did that. It was really cool.
I've been watching you do some magic from there.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, what do you do? What can you show me? What can you
Well, let's
blow me
try
away?
something.
Let's try something.
Yeah, something fresh and new and interesting. So, are you good at telling lies, Jimmy-O?
Sure, I
You are?
can. Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
so I'm going to test your lying ability, if you like. So I've got a dice here.
Okay.
I want you to be sure it's not a trick dice or a load of dice. We're in the Magic Castle. They probably have a few of those. I don't
Probably
know.
do.
But dice are really used in games and gambling to create randomness. So roll it a couple of times and call out the numbers that are
Okay.
coming up. Just to make sure it's not loaded.
One.
That's a one. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
perfect.
again.
One.
Again. Yeah. Go again.
Let's do
Make
it
sure
again.
one doesn't keep coming up.
6. There
Go
we
again.
Okay. Woo. 3.
So different numbers coming up all
Sure.
the time. Okay, in a moment, I'll look the other way. When I do, I want you to roll the dice and then cover it. But remember what number it lands on, okay?
Okay.
I'll look the other way. I'll close my eyes, roll it, cover it. Okay, tell me when it's covered and I can look back.
It's covered.
Okay, look at me. I'm going to ask you, is it a 1, is it a 2, is it a 3, is it a 4, is it a 5, is it a 6? Say no every time. My job is to figure out when you're lying, Jimmy-O. Okay, here we go. No every time.
Okay.
Is it a 1?
No.
Is it a 2?
No.
Is it a 3?
No.
Is it a 4?
No.
Is it a 5?
No.
Is it a 6?
No.
Now, you're very good at lying. Actually, you've been very good at lying to your brother, your mother, your father, your sister, everybody. You've learned lying over a long period of time, but the eyes never lie, Jimmy-O, never lie. So your eyes dilated just ever so slightly at number 3. It's number 3, isn't it? It is. And that could be luck, so go again, and this time I'll make it
Okay.
matter. I'll make it matter. I've got about $100 on me.
Oh, shoot.
That's now
Okay.
yours. You own it. You own it, okay?
Okay.
I got to try and win it back from you. If I get this one wrong, you keep the stash of cash, right? I'll look the other
I'm
way.
fairly sure I'm not going to get it. Okay. Okay.
But this time we're going to make it even more interesting,
Okay.
okay? This time just think no. Don't say anything, just think no,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Think no, don't say anything. Is it a 1? Is it a 2? Is it a 3? Is it a 4? Is it a 5? Is it a 6? Is it a 6? Is it a 6? Oh, yes. Your eye twitched just ever so slightly, number 2. It's number 2, isn't it?
Oh my! I thought you were going to say 6. I was like, oh, I would.
I get the cash back. You're not as good at lying as you thought.
I
Jimmy-O.
am not. I am not. How? So okay, how do you translate this to the silver screen into this?
Yeah, so I mean, I suppose the first part of the process is sitting down with Ed Solomon, the amazing writer that he is, and just throwing out loads of magic and mentalism and hypnosis ideas at him. And then once he figured out the structure of the movie and the kind of things that he wanted in the movie, my job is to, I suppose, make these things come to life with as little CGI as possible. That was the kind of rule for the second movie. So yeah, I mean, when we chopped Lizzy Caplan's head off, for all intents and purposes, her head was chopped off. In other words, you know, I spent about 3 months working with the props department to design an illusion that she could fit in, lie down in, and when you see it in the movie and you rewatch it, it's actually her head dropping to the ground at that speed. It wasn't a dummy head, it wasn't a stand-in. The same thing with Dave Franco. I taught him the 3-card Monty, the close-up version, and then we needed to translate that to a jumbo version for the purposes of the script. So I had to come up with a method where that could really be done even here on Hollywood Boulevard. So all of the things in the movie, all the magic in the movie can stand up in real life,
How long does it take for the actors to master it?
Well, we put them into magic camp for a couple of weeks at the start of the movie, so that was fun. I mean, literally that involved us all sitting in a room, teaching them how to spin cards like that, and just firing cards around the place and at cameras and things like that. And then, then when we got into their specific roles, teaching Lizzy Caplan how to produce doves, but it was all done quite quickly because at the end of the day, their time is precious, movie time is precious. So, I would have always wanted more time, but, luckily a lot of them were their particular roles, especially Dave Franco. He went home every night and practiced card spinning and card throwing and back palming for hours every night.
Oh my God.
I didn't send Lizzy home with doves because we couldn't do that. But Dave was throwing cards. Woody would come out with me hypnotizing people on the streets of London. It was a lot of fun,